Hello from Italy to you in Hungary. I'm Heidi Hornlein, and I was supposed to do a presentation in this section, which is the female leadership section, but unfortunately I cannot come. I had prepared before a slideshow. Also, I wanted to speak freely in Hungary, but as I cannot come, I just sent you the slideshow, and I hope you will have some benefit of it. And let's hope that next time I come back together with Mark, who is ill. And see you all in Hungary. Bye-bye. The journey into visibility. This is for my presentation in Hungary on May 24th, 2018 at the Integral European Conference. I'm Heidi Hornlein. I'm the president of the Paradiso Integrale nonprofit association in Umbria in Italy. You can find us on paradisointegrale.com and thewisdomfactory.net, where is shown the most things which we are talking about, the visibility factor. I think visibility is important, especially for women, and that's why I created this talk. And today it will be in form of a presentation. So the content of the presentation is the visibility of, let's better say, the invisibility, which is so for men and women, or let's say for women and men. And they are connected with the levels of development as we know it from spiral dynamics. Then we inquire into the reasons. Visibility or staying in invisibility is very much connected with the personality traits and with the personality types. As we know in Integral, we are using the Enneagram. Then what is very, very, very important and which has finally brought me out of invisibility, at least of the total invisibility as I felt it before, our unconscious beliefs. We all have a cocktail of unconscious beliefs which are running the show without us even knowing it. Then the question, why bother with becoming visibility? And then finally, what can we do for really become visible in the world? And I will use the 4 quadrants for that. So now going into the colors of spiral dynamics, beginning down with the purple, I left out beige. Men and women, they have their place in society, so no problem. That's what it is, and it will be ever like this. And so we accept all sorts of things because that's how life is. Then going into red, the physical power is the key. And so women being biologically less strong, they have a harder stand to come out and be, let's say, dominant, but they can be dominant in some different ways. We women have certain ways of manipulation and of intrigues and whatever. So, you know, we can express our red power too in a different way. Then in blue, it is a huge agreement what women do and are and what men do and are. Women command at home, men in the outside world. And the family has a huge, huge, huge value. And studies show that women in the blue level of consciousness are much happier than those in orange or green because they have no doubt. That's, you know, a little bit like in purple. That's how life is, and I know my place, I know my boundaries, and that's fine. I'm safe. Then in orange, the women become more men than women. They enter into male workplaces, and they want to have recognition in the outside world. And they are running on masculine values. They want to be women, but actually they are becoming more men than women. And then in green, the women are rediscovering feminine qualities and values. But often, unfortunately, they present them in a counterposition to men and pretend that men are sort of to blame for all the evils they have suffered in the past. And they forget that they have been part of it, and it was their choice too. And so the hope for second tier for yellow is that women and men begin to really know themselves, each other, and they discover their purpose in life and their common purpose in life. And then through visibility, I call it interior visibility. That means I know myself really quite well. And exterior visibility, I am seen in the outside world because I present myself. That becomes possible. So now I want to go into the reasons why we want to stay in invisibility. And there are deep conditionings for that. One is your human biology and our human history. The reptilian brain is full of conditionings which we don't even know. We have no idea. Then there are our ancestors. We know it from family constellations, how much our ancestors interfere in our own lives or project their problems into us, and we think that is our problem. Then if you accept that there are previous lives, they may influence them too, our present situation. And then for sure the prenatal and postnatal influences has very much the country and the culture where we were born and where we grew up. Then there are the personality traits and the personality types, and most important, the belief systems, as I said already before. So personality traits, the big five, the agreeableness. If you are very agreeable, that means you want to be nice, a nice person, then you are most likely to become invisible because after a while, nobody notices you anymore. When you are very industrious and orderly, you might even not be seen so much. But I don't think this is a main factor of invisibility. While extraversion or introversion, it is. Extraversion is much more easy to be visible in the outside world, while introverted people really have a problem to get out. Neuroticism, this means the anxiety factor. This is very much conditioned for staying invisible because everything is creating too much fear. Every appearance in the public, better don't go. Openness to experience is a good way to become visible if you are. So I go now into Enneagram. I have here from the book from Claudio Naranjo, I have a caricature of the several types and then postmodern presentation of the Enneagram. So now the false beliefs. When I finally got to know those in my feminine power training, I was really thrown into an abyss because it was so devastating to understand where I am. This now reading it, I'm not safe, I'm not good enough. But when you really get into it and see what the consequences of these beliefs are and how you are seen by others in the world, how you present yourself in the world, then you see they are not peanuts. If you're interested, I'm doing coaching in this, and I'm very, very happy to help you to find out what your cocktail is. So why bother with getting visible? I think second-tier consciousness asks us to overcome our egocentrism and to contribute to the well-being of the world. We are so much concerned about our own well-being, our own survival, our own thriving, so that we often forget the bigger picture. And in second tier, I think we need to get there and to contribute to the world. Barbara Max Hubbard says from procreation to co-creation. This is especially for women. And we cannot co-create without showing up. We could procreate by just staying inside the family, but co-create without collaborating with others, without being out there and being seen. How would you do that? So what to do to gain visibility? I want to go to practices in all 4 quadrants. And there is a funny thing, because we have to have communication skills. Often we are alone because we don't know how to relate with other people. We don't know how to communicate. And wherever we are, in whatever setting we are, we need to have different ways of doing things. If you do Facebook in real life, then you have followers, policemen, psychiatrists, psychologists, and nurses. So I want to start with the lower right. Everybody knows what that is, I guess, when you are savvy in integral theory. When we go out, we have to develop our own branding, our own company, association. We need to have a home for what we do. I actually struggled a long time with that, and it's slowly developing. Then we have to enter into collaboration with other people, with other companies. We have to know about, for instance, if you do live streaming, as we do, we have to know about streaming platforms. We need to know what is good, what is not good, how you use them. Then we need to learn about copyright requirements, about the legal framework, what is possible in our country and what not. So in the lower left, in the interior part, we need to find communities. We need to find somebody who is listening to us. Yeah, we have found somebody, but we would like to have many more listeners, and we invite you to listen to us in the wisdomfactory.net, to the live broadcasts or the many videos, recordings, interviews, and conversations. Then we need communities as peer groups and as support groups. And we need to develop the communication skills in real life and online and in social media. We need really to know how to get into contact and then to stay in contact. How to write newsletters, newsletter platforms, that goes to the lower right. How do we use that? How do we create events so that you stay visible as soon as you have become visible? As I said, group events, courses, community events, and so on. That is a continuous work to be done, and it's not everybody's favorite, but it is needed. And now, first of all, yeah, we need to take care for our health and well-being, and that's not always easy. It's the upper right. We need to learn the things. We need to know what we present. I cannot just have read a book yesterday and tomorrow do a presentation. The things have to be sort of digested and assimilated to us when we want to present them to the world. We need to develop other skills. We need to create content like books, ebooks, papers, videos, articles. TED Talks also. Some of us have done TED Talks already. This is all skills to develop, which we can learn, but it seems often so scary. But there are ways to learn it. And when we begin now, next year, we will be further ahead. And then create and learn the tools we need. I'm talking about technology. And that was a huge hurdle for me and for many non-tech people. We have to understand all these devices. We have to know how to use them. Computers in all ways, cell phones, iPads, and all these things, how they work together and how the software is working. First of all, what do we really need? How often I bought something and then I found out it was not really what we need. So that's where the lower left is for, the communities where you can get some feedback or some suggestions, what might be the right thing in your case. We need to know how to create websites, at least to a certain point, because even if you outsource that, as I did at the beginning, when you don't know how websites are done and what is possible and what is not and how it is possible, you cannot even ask the people to do it for you. And I found out that the person who first created my website about 6-7 years ago, he did something, but not everything he needed, especially not backing up. And then the website crashed and I didn't have any backup. And today, ever more important is the creation of images and videos. Learn about all this pixel stuff and how big they need to be and how you cut the video in pieces, how you do the transitions and all these things. I didn't know that 2 years ago still, and I sort of self-taught myself. And every now and then I find people who help me with these things. Text creation, writing skills. Yeah, that is a big deal, especially if you write in a language which is not yours. It's good to have somebody to correct it or reread it. Then you need to know the social media platforms. How do you otherwise spread the news of what you are doing? The old leaflets, they don't work anymore. It seems to be everything online. And how to really effectively make publicity for these things, it's still a sort of an enigma to me. Yeah, and then what I said, we need to handle streaming platforms, hosting platforms. We need to know what to do when websites don't work anymore and all this updating stuff and whatever. It is quite scary and it is a long learning curve. I realized that it took me much more time for quite a few years than the things I actually really wanted to do. But who else is doing it for you? Unless you have a lot of money and you can hire people who know the things. If you're a solopreneur or, like us, elderly people who try to do something good for the world, you have to learn it yourself and overcome all the hurdles and impediments. And so now, the upper left, now finally the interior, the individual quadrant. And that's for me the big thing. Everything starts or ends here. When we have not enough confidence, if we are guided by very unfavorable, let's say, false beliefs, so like I'm inferior or I'm stupid or something like that, how would we ever dare to go out and become visible when we feel the judgment of everybody? If we want to be so agreeable that everybody likes us, it will never happen. But we need to learn that and not just work harder and harder and trying to be liked by everybody. We need to work mainly on that. At least I had, and everybody I met so far, especially women. Some women go out and pretend to be, as I said before, men. But that's not them. That is a form of the opposite of invisibility, a forced visibility. And they more often than not have a burnout because it's not their genuine way of doing things. And so also these women need to find out what is driving them, what their inner beliefs are. They need to find out what is really their purpose and their way of doing things instead of imitating others and instead of, trying to compete with men or even with other women, which we are very used to do from ancient times. We need to really find the trust in ourselves by getting to know ourselves really deeply. So, and now I come to the visibility coaching. As I said, I did the feminine power courses and coaching school, and that really has changed my life. There are still false beliefs around, but I can realize what they are and can consciously decide not to be driven by them. And I really would love to help you to get these insights too. And then if things are frightening you about going into the outside world and show up, I really invite you to come. Not only in coaching, but be our guest in the Wisdom Factory. We invite everybody to do a live broadcast with us about what you really are, what your expertise is, what you are working on, what you know well. And if you have problems with being on camera, we prepare you for doing that. We can do trials. I can do the coaching, as I said before. And, it is good if people can see you. And it's not just, as I do now, the slides. It's sort of boring seeing only slides. We want to see the people behind. We want to see them, to hear them, to get an impression who they are. And that's the same thing for you. So let's go. Jump over the hurdles which are in our way and become confident.